This conference will now be recorded.
Sure. So today's topic, we are supposed to start up with the SDLC life cycle phases, where the development activities will be conducted in that, right? So before starting with the SDLC phases, which phase, who's involved, the responsibility, and what is the process of each and every phase, before that, let us discuss about a topic called as pre-SDLC over here. That means before every product or a project gets developed, what is it supposed to be done, which we are considering it as a pre-SDLC. Because the SDLC has like this, the SDLC phases are the requirements gathering phase, the analysis, designing, coding, testing, delivery, and the maintenance. These are the phases over there, right? Now, before everything, the requirements begin starting, right? So that is what we need to put up. Say like if at all we start up directly from gathering the requirements, the very first meeting with the client, what happens if the client gives these requirements at the very first meeting to the organization? Generally talking about, what will happen? You wanted one WhatsApp application kind of a process. So you approach to an organization, a development organization, right? So you had a meeting with them, you put up the entire requirements at the very first level. All your requirements, the Word document, whatever you people prepared it for yourself as a client, because you people kept on thinking about this kind of an application, much better if we develop this and put that into Play Stores, which can be an, what do you call that, make some nice business out of it. So what happens when you give the requirements at the very first meeting itself? You as a client to this organization, right? So what was the first thing you did? You directly came down and paid the amount and started attending the classes?
No, sir. We waited.
We have
You had a discussion with them. Are you people teaching this subject, yes or not? Do you have the corresponding lecturer available or not? Right? He is a profession person. Can we attend a demo? What is the price? What is the duration? All this you people had a discussion with them. Right? So in that case, if at all you have paid the amount at the very first day, what happens? Say like if the company is not dealing with the subject called testing, you paid the amount and we said, sorry, we don't deal with the subject called testing. If at all we are dealing, we do not have the corresponding lecture, right? So something or the answer, they will give it to you. And what about the money paid then?
It will be a waste.
We cannot expect anything. The amount will come back, yes or not, but it will be written on the every bills over the product once sold, cannot be written something, right? Similarly, in the software side also, when you give your requirements at the very first meeting itself, when they say, sorry, we do not have that profession developers, neither testers to do that, so you can check out for any other organization, simply you will walk away from it. But the current organization, people will do what? They can misuse that requirements. They can develop their the application and name it for themselves over there. And ulta copyright, right? For you, they will be putting a case over there. This person has copyrighted my complete application because he's registered initially, right? Before you is done. So that is why The very first meeting, we are not going to express anything to the organization. We need to have some agreements there. Some paperwork need to be done. For that purpose, we are going to talk about everything under our pre-SDLC. So first thing, when I go to an organization, what am I supposed to talk about, right? So I'm walking to your organization with a proposal, planning to develop a mobile application or a web application. Will you able to do, are you capable to develop these applications for me, yes or no? In simple terms, we are trying to get a confirmation from the organization which says request for proposal, right? So this is the process where customer will request the vendor regarding the confirmation of the project. Will you able to develop this, yes or no? So I'm planning to make a develop application, a mobile application, a WhatsApp application. So WhatsApp application or a mobile web application, whatever it is going to be a dynamic, static. This all will be discussed, but not enclosing our requirements. They said yes, we can do that. We are capable of doing that. Sure, we got a confirmation. Then what is it you will be requesting from? So you asked for this subject testing tools. Will you able to teach? Right? They said yes. Then what is the next thing you people asked for? Or what is the next thing you people discussed with them?
Resources.
Resources? Yeah, all that you can put
Duration.
under the proper. Somebody saying something. Yes, sir.
Duration.
Yes, duration and the main thing.
Cost.
Sorry, ma'am.
Cost.
Cost you are talking about.
Uh,
Yes, paisa, important part that you are supposed to talk about, right? Which you put it under request for quotation, which we said, right? So the resources, I asked them whether you are teaching testing. Yes. Do you have the experienced person or a fresher person who's going to deal with us? All that you had discussion, that all you can put it under the proposal. The next I'll be talking about the money matter and the time duration over here. Like this, I'll put it. Once the proposal received from the vendor, customer will request for quotation, that is the budget and the time duration over there. How much time is it going to take? What is the amount it is going, your people are charging for this? All these things, right? Now you do your bargainings and all, like everything is being done. I'm satisfied with this. Then what is it we will do now? The next thing we'll talk about a project signing in. Let us make an agreement now. This is my agreement developed by so and so, cannot be copyrighted from by anybody. All these things can be put up into this agreement, right? And the agreement will be commonly called as an service level agreement, right? Let me put like this, the line. Project signing in basically an agreement prepared, that is service level agreement called as, so which specifies the product to be developed same and delivered same. There should not be any changes in that, right? So that is the agreement which they are going to talk about. Fine, we signed it. Client has his own copy, the vendor has his own copy. Now what is the organization's responsible is? We'll send away client. We will not call client right now. We are not required of the client right now. Client only comes after the agreement is done. Client only comes at this stage. So we're going to talk about call the client over here. Till then, what is it we have to do now? Yeah, somebody said resources. Now start gathering the resources for the right. For that purpose, the very first meeting we'll be calling it as a kickoff meeting. This is where a team selection will be done over here, right? Gather the group of developers and testers to do the development and the testing activities, right? And these team members need to be led by someone or the other, right? So the development team will be led by the product manager. The testing team will be led by the test leads over there, right? The product manager will lead the development team, whereas selecting a test lead to lead the testing team. Correct. So we will keep aside the testing team and the testing activities, right, which we can talk about that all activities under our STLC, that is software testing life cycle, right? So we will only talk about the development activities and the development phases over the SDLC phases, right? So once the team selection is done, what is your product manager will be doing now?
Assigning the works.
Before assigning a work, did you get an approval from the management team? So for that purpose, our project manager will be sending a request mail, right? Saying that so and so team members are ready. Give me an approval, waiting for the approval so that we can start the initial processes and all, right? So he'll be sending a request mail, which is asking for PIN, permission to initiation, or permission to initiate the development activities in this systematic manner, which is called as SDLC, a software development life cycle over there, right? Product manager will request the high level management asking for permission to initiate the development activities in systematic manner, which is called as the development life cycle. So this is what happening for every product or a project getting developed, right? A small paperwork kind of a process. That is what we put up everything into a term called as a pre-SDLC. Before, what is it happening? Right, we got an approval from the management team to the product manager. We got an approval, a mail has been sent to him. Yes, you can go ahead, right? So when we say go ahead, now the product manager will be assigning each and every person a responsibility, a task will be assigned, right? So task being assigned, that means every person has a different role to be played here, right? So in this case, so every phase we will be talking about the role what they play, the responsibility, and the process of that particular phase. This is how we are going to talk about each and every phase, right? So we said requirements gathering, because here we did not talk about anything called as requirements. We had a discussion with the client. He said yes, paid the amount, initial payment has been done, right? So we'll start off. So in that case, we will call up client now. Everything is, the agreement has been done. We'll call up client, or the person will be going to the client location, start talking about gathering of the requirements, right? So you can call this as a requirements phase, requirements gathering phase, or initial phase, however it is, because you people are following any web pages or any books. Some they named it as initial phase, some they named it as requirements phase, right? End of the day, all are same over there, right? Now there's a role played by whom over here. The product manager is assigned a person called as BA, the business analyst, right? So that is the role they will be playing over here. So what is his responsibility now? To gather the requirements over here, right? So in that case, what will be the process for that? So the business analyst will interact with the clients, gather all the requirements, and prepare a document, right? Let me put that. Business analyst will interact with clients, gather requirements, and document them. So the document, what they prepare is called as a BRS document, or the other term of this is a BDD document, right? So the BRS is called as business requirement specification, we call it as. The BDD is called as business design document. Does not matter in which word you name it as, but this document will be called as a base document for entire project. Right? It specifies all the valid and the invalid requirements which are being given by our client. Now, when we said a base document for entire project, consider if this document is being prepared wrong. What is it happening over here?
The project will be a error.
Sorry, sir.
Will be a mistake.
Sorry, I could not hear you again.
The entire project will become error, which is violation to the client requirements.
Entire project becomes error. Is that suitable word which we discussed in previous sessions then?
Wrong. It will be a mistake.
Mistake. Sorry.
Under deviation from quality, we used a word called mistake. I told you it is related to the base document, right? You collected the information wrong. The entire team will also do the entire application in a wrong way over there, right? So that is how the term is being used. Sure. We got our explicit, implicit requirements. We prepared a document now. Next thing, what do we do now? The next phase is analysis. Now, what is mean by analysis? The general English meaning of this will be what?
Observing.
Observing. And you said observing. After observing, I sorted out everything in an order, segregated in a systematic manner, right? Now, can you say the client has given us the requirements in a sequential manner? Can you people give any guarantee that the client will give us the requirements very much systematically?
No, sir. It may or may
No,
not
we
be.
give does not matter. Our work will be a little bit lesser. No, the client will never give it in that manner. Now, whatever he keeps on getting it in his mind, he keeps on giving it to you. You'll start noting it down over the right, which you call it as a BRS document. Now, what I'll do is we'll consider that as a rough book. Hope people you have done these kind of things in the classrooms. Whatever our lecturers are telling us, everything in a running notes. We maintained a rough book over there. What you'll do when once you go back to your house, will you make a fair copy out of that rough book for each and every subject?
Yes, sir.
Someone or other has been done that. So that is why I'm considering this as a rough book, where I'll be making a fair book under the phase called analysis over here, right? So what I'm going to do, as my role will be a system analyst, will study the client requirements, right? Understand them, segregate them in a systematic manner, right? Say, like example, you got a librarian job now, right? What will be your work responsibility as a librarian?
To place the books in order
Simple.
based on the
So people
sequence.
do come, read the books, magazines, papers, leave them on the desk and go. Your responsibility is so and so magazine, so and so rack, so and so textbook in a textbooks column, right? So you are segregating everything in a systematic manner, right? So that systematic manner is nothing but called as analysis, which is done by the system analyst, right? And the responsibility over here will be segregating requirements and preparing, they call it as FRS, right? So for that purpose, the process over here is system analyst will analyze the requirements, client requirements for your convenient over there, client requirements, and prepare FRS, or you can call it as SRS. FRS is functional requirement specification. The SRS will be called as a software. You can call it as a software, otherwise system requirement specification over there. Both are one of the same. Now this will be my fair copy. What I just told you, this the BRS will be my rough book, and my fair copy will be an FRS document over here, right? This specifies the following over here, right? They say we have a valid requirement, and it says valid requirements which can be implemented. invalid requirement which cannot be implemented. Now, what does mean by this? Which can be implemented, which cannot be implemented?
So there are like do's and don'ts which the team should do or should not do.
General English, it was nice. You have to do this, you have to not to do this. But now what I'll say is, as a test engineer, will you do only testing on valid requirements? Will you not do testing on invalid requirements?
We will do on both, sir.
So English is a funny language, sir. You cannot use those words, do's and don'ts. Both are do's only here. When I use my valid information, the application should accept them, respond in so and so manner, right? Whereas I'm using my invalid information, the application should reject them by showing a corresponding error message or rejecting it, right? So this is what I will be saying it as a valid and an invalid requirement over here. Along with that, the software requirements, right? The software requirements like the operating systems, what you require, the browsers, what you require, and so on, which we had a discussion during the portability topic in last class under the factors of quality, right? Now, I'll pick up a client as a client, right? Requirement for WhatsApp application over here. So WhatsApp application is to be installed in Android operating system over here. That is the requirement for that WhatsApp application. So what do you do? Test engineer started testing it now. What is it you will do now?
Install an Android.
As per the requirement, you have to follow, right? You start
Yeah.
installing it, the application in Android, right? Is not installing or working, whatever it is. I cannot use a word properly as working over there because that comes later. Is not installing. Do you consider it as a defect, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Now my
Yes.
Yes.
question related to this will be, will you do anything else testing or will you stop testing over here?
We will check if it is getting installed in other OS platforms like iOS.
Now,
If it gets installed, then it is a defect. Defect.
it is a defect over here. Now we got a confirmation, right? We got a confirmation it is a defect. Now what will be the type of defect over here, people?
Functional.
Function.
Delhi both the functionality. I did not talk about anything. You people are just installing and verifying, installing, not installing. So installing will be my valid requirements, invalid will be my not installing in the other operating systems.
Yes.
So what type of defect
Val
is this?
invalid defect.
As I gave you a hint, this kind of topic which we had in yesterday's session under portability, we said.
Software defect.
We are under software requirements checking over there. right? I gave you an example of a Selenium as a client. Selenium wanted his software to be supporting to all the operating systems, right? If it is not installing in any other, or I evenly put up an example of a UFT also. As per that was the same example which I just used it as WhatsApp now, because UFT is the tool which will only support Windows. The same thing, I just changed the software name and the operating system name. Do not get confused over there, right? So it is going to be a software defect. It is where we are talking about software requirements. It is a software defect over here. So we will give this to the developers saying that this is this. You have to do the rectification. Chalo. The rectification is done, right? Now it started installing in the Android operating system also. Now will you consider it as a defect, yes or no? Is it still a defect, yes or not?
What was the question, sir? Could you repeat?
Sorry, sir.
Could you repeat the question?
Where we said earlier, the Android, it was not installing. We checked it in the
Yes.
iOS, it was installing. We said defect. The defect reported to the developers rectified it. Now when we started installing in the Android, it is installing.
Then it is not a defect.
Okay. Anybody else? Or everybody goes with the same answer what Brani said here? So I'll be considering one person's answer is everybody's answers over here, the same.
It's not a defect, sir.
Yeah, that's right. So two people said no defect. So my answer will be yes, it is a defect.
It is also getting installed in iOS. Then yes, it is a defect.
I did
I
not
thought it was
change it
only the
under
first case.
installing an iOS. Yes, I just
Okay.
removed not installing in Android. So
Then
it
it
is
is a
still
defect.
installing in the iOS then.
Yes.
When it is still working, it is a defect over there. Now,
Then it won't be a
not
defect.
a defect over there. Right? So that is how it is talking about the operating system compatibilities you keep on checking out over here. Right? So once the operating system, the software requirements are done, along with that, I will evenly put up a hardware requirements also. So hardware requirements, that is the RAM, the processors, the memories, and so on. There are plenty of things. Now let us take the same example over here. Client requirement for WhatsApp application to be installed in Android operating system, right? Which should have a 2 GB of a RAM, right? The memory should be something of 10 MB over there, right? The rest of the part I'm not talking about it. Only basic we'll talk about. So you do come as a test engineer, started doing some testing, right? Installing, right? You picked up an Android. As per the requirements, you have to say with a 2 GB, then a 10 MB. WhatsApp application. This application is not installing. Now what do you say? If it is not installing, what will you say
Yeah.
now?
Hardware
Directly
it's a
confirm.
Hard,
defect.
It will be a defect.
But I will not say at the very first attempt, I will not say it is a defect. Similar
Maybe
here
it's
also. When it was earlier not installing in the Android, I will not consider it as a defect at the very first time, because I want to change the operating system and see. If it's still not getting installed in the iOS and as well as the operating system entirely, it is a defect. I will consider it as, right?
So
And I
here
will
maybe we
clearly
can use
describe the information about the defect to my developers over there. Yes, sir. Sorry, you were saying something?
maybe we can vary that RAM and memory so
Yes,
that
that is what you have to do. You change the not operating system, be in the operating system here itself, right? The Android, change it. Either it 3 GB will do one less or the more one, right? The 1 or 3 GB of a RAM with a 20 MB of memory. Now is installing, then shall we consider it as a defect? Yes or not?
yes.
Yes,
Yes.
because
yes.
Yes,
my
sir.
client did not set the requirements minimum of 2 GB or maximum of 2 GB. He did not mention anything in that manner, right? He said 2 GB. That means fixed with that. So I use the fixed configuration. It was not installing, right? If it is installing, it was not working also. Yes, I will evenly use that word also now, right? I changed my hardware configuration. I kept my operating system intact. I am not supposed to do the changes of operating system over here, which I already did. Sorry, which I already did that in the software requirements testing over, right? It is a defect, a hardware defect, right? Where the device is now called as a failure device. Under deviation from quality, you can use another word also like this: failure. Temporary state of inability to perform a task will be called as a failure, right? So all the failure issues are nothing but hardware issues, hardware requirements, hardware defects, you call it as over here, right? So you got to test the hardware requirements and the software requirements over here. Let us come down to the main requirement of this, which we call it as functional requirement. And they say these requirements which affect application functionality, right? In that case, what is it now? The requirement will be, again, client requirement. Now I'll change the example over here, something like login page, where it has a user ID, right, which accepts letters we said. There's a password which accepts numbers. So test engineer testing it, entered user ID, a password. So here user logged into the application. Now tell me, is it functioning? Yes or not?
No.
No.
No, sir.
Everybody with a loud voice giving clear answer. Is it functioning? Yes or not?
No, sir.
Okay.
Now tell me, what will be the what is the functionality of the login page is?
They should accept user ID should accept only letters and password should accept only numbers.
That is requirement. That is requirements you people are specifying. My
When
question is,
when
what is the functionality of login page is there? Sorry, sir.
when we
Yes.
enter the user ID and password, we have to
User should
get
log
into
in
the
and a personal page should be displayed.
yes
Yes.
User logged
function.
in, right?
Yeah.
That means, is it functioning? Yes or no?
Yes, it is. It is functioning.
But is it functioning with a defect? Yes or no?
Yes,
Yes.
functioning with a
Yes.
defect.
People, whoever said no, got a clarity there. Answer now. Do you have any queries? Now talk about that. It is
Sir, if the
functioning.
password is incorrect, user will not be logged in. Logged in.
Clearly hear my question. What is the functionality of a login page is? User should log in with valid credentials.
They
Should
should be
not
listed.
log in with invalid credentials, whatever the spelling is. User logged in. We did not talk about a valid user ID or a valid password over there. User logged in. That means the application is doing its action over there, but it is logging in with an invalid inputs. Chalo, for your purpose, now is it functioning? Yes or not?
No, it is not functioning.
No. No.
Then what I was talking about earlier, then
It was functioning, but with a defect.
first we said, what I'll do is I will do everything again over there for you. Right? User logged in into the application, functioning with a defect, and the corresponding defect will be functional defect over here. Right? Now what I'll do is, sorry. Check that 2 lines because of what we were just having a conversation earlier. Not functioning. Let me remove this. So what did I ask you a question? User logged in. Is it functioning? Yes or not? It is functioning, right? But user is logging in with an invalid password. So which I'll call it, consider it as a defect. Where is it? Is functionality where password is also accepting some invalid inputs. Considering it as a functional defect. Input defects over there. Input values, input domain defect, we consider it as over here. Now here the same thing. I entered valid user ID and a valid password, but still not able to log in. That means the application is not at all functioning. Still we consider it as a defect, and the defect is related to functionality where user is not at all able to log in when entered all valid credentials. Clear?
Clear.
Yes.
Whoever gave an answer earlier, no, it is not functioning. Got a clarity there?
Yes, sir.
It is little bit a tricky kind of an lines over there, right? Be patient, read the line
In the
over there, it will be clear. Yes, sir.
in the second case, it will be without a defect, right? User not logged into the app, not functioning.
But the
Without
inputs
a,
are valid, sir.
yeah, you mentioned with a defect in that line. That's what.
Yeah, with a defect, yes. Acha, logging, grammar mistake.
There's no.
Defect, functional defect it is called.
Yeah.
Clear? ग्रामर मिस्टेक होते रहता है सर, माफ कर दो मुझे जरा. Done. So this is what we are talking about, our functional requirements. Functional requirements, functional defects. Now, along with that, we have another one called as non-functional requirements, and they say these requirements which do not affect application functionality. Now, start thinking about what are the things which are not affecting the application functionality. What can those be? Any guesses?
Spelling mistakes.
There are plenty like this. Suddenly, tomorrow when you open up, you will find Google like this. Will you accept this? Yes or not?
Yes, sir.
So is it functioning? Yes or not?
Yes.
Do you consider it as a defect? Yes or not?
No.
అన్ని వేసాను ఆడికి వచ్చేసరికి నో అన్నాను. What is the title of the Google will be, how it is being displayed?
Yeah, it is a mistake. I mean, it is a defect.
This is right. This is wrong. Right? This will be considered as a defect, and the type will be the non-functional defect because it is not affecting the application functionality, right? When I am supposed to clearly describe it, right? Title, mismatch for me, right? So that will be consideration of that. What is the logo of Gmail is?
M.
Specified clearly. It is an uppercase M with how many colors are there on that? The 4 colors should be displayed on that, right? Blue, red, what do you call, orange or yellow, whatever it is, and there's a green, right? So uppercase M with all those 4 colors. When it is been displaying like this, is it going to affect your Gmail account? What happened? Will it affect your application functionality?
No.
From uppercase M to the lowercase m, does not matter. If you people do remember, right, earlier the M was in completely red color and the compose was completely red, right? The compose
Yes, sir.
title was completely red. The plus symbol was also red, right? They changed it. The application got upgraded over there with these 4 colors over here, also 4 colors. But still my page I'm able to log in. It is not affecting the application functionality over there. What is the Facebook web page logo is?
Small f with a blue
F.
color and white.
Small f.
Clearly, my question. Facebook logo in web page. The logo you people are defining is a mobile application. What is Amazon's logo in mobile?
A with a smiley under, A with arrow mark under
Mobile.
mobile.
1 second. I also forgot. There's no A on that. There's only an arrow there, and there's a page flipping on that icon there. Whereas your website, website of the Amazon logo is what? The older version of Amazon used to be an Amazon completely written, right? There's an arrow, yellow color arrow, right from A to Z, and there's a cart symbol. But whereas here, the website logo is Amazon, only Amazon. Title itself is a logo over here for them, right? So that is how it is we are talking about. If these logos keep on changing, right? The color of a Facebook is what?
Blue color, complete.
Sure. Okay, the newer version is completely blue. I was talking about the older version, I think. The title is in white color, background is blue color. What happens? You keep on changing all these things here, which is not affecting the functionality. That means it is a non-functional requirements, non-functional defects you'll be considering them as, right? So that is how these requirements we are talking about over here. This is an complete, where is it? An FRS document or a SRS document, everything being put into systematic manner, which requirement needs to fall under which, right? The segregations have been done in this manner over here by the person called as system analyst for you. Clear? What is the default font size and the type, people?
Ten and times more than anything.
It is 11 and the type is Calibri. Now you cannot point out, sir, you open Word document, that is why it is showing you, right? Even you open an Excel sheet, even in the any browsers you people are using, it is all the same fonts and the types over there, right? It's all Calibri fonts they are using it, right? This changes when we say Google over here, also using the same. Size varies because title, it has to be separate, so they change the title size over there, right? When you look at the Gmail also at the corner, it is also the same size 11 and it is a Calibri over there. So that is why we say it is a default font size and the type. Yeah, Times New Roman is the font type you selected for your CV preparation, and the number will be 12 over there, right? So that is how it is changing for yourself over there. So these are the FRS requirements, segregation. This is what you will be having it, right? So in tomorrow's topic, I'll put up the designing phase topics and all over there, right? The designing and the rest of the phases over there. So you have any queries for the day today? Let us discuss about that now. And